Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Media Matters by AnfieldIndex. It's 11 o'clock on Thursday the 29th of August. It's 11 p.m. on Friday the 30th when that window slammed shut. There is a million things going on, rumours of outgoings, rumours of incomings. It's all rumours, isn't it, at the moment? We'll have to see. There's a United game coming up on the Sunday. There's even a Champions League draw today at 5 p.m. There is so much to talk about, and there's only one person we can get on to do it, isn't it? The star of the video diaries, the Liverpool patch journal extraordinaire, the man just back from the safari park, according to rumours as well, Lewis Steele of the Daily Mail. Lewis, how are we?
Morning, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Tried to take a little day off yesterday. Took my mum out for the day because she's not overly good on her feet, so the safari park was a perfect place to do that. And just as I was parked up taking pictures of the Lions, I got a text to say that the Kauser deal had been agreed. So I was working whilst at the wheel, but I was parked up in case any police officers are watching.
Wow, it's a thing. We were robbed of a Kauser announcement with a llama or something in the background, eh? But there we go. So a lot going on. I mean, I know it's going to be a crazy busy period for you, Lewis. We'll just sort of launch straight into it and start throwing names of you. I mean, the big one, the one that looks 99% done, Federico Chiesa from Juventus. I mean, various reports, but just on the surface, this does look like unbelievable value. People will talk about the injuries, the risk of that, but you can ignore a lot of red flags, I suppose, for a certain fee at the same time. What are you actually getting from the club around this in terms of the specifics of the deal, and what do they expect of him with his history, his injury record that way?
Well, the specifics of the deal are it's a 4-year deal, 10 million base fee with 2.5 mil in add-ons, and those add-ons are based on team performance, so whether Liverpool can win a Prem or a Champions League. But realistically, £10 million in this day and age is like loose change down the back of the sofa. I wouldn't call it risk-free because obviously there is money involved, but I'd say it's very low risk. Because if Chiesa can get over his injury record and, be a big part of Liverpool in the next 4 years or so, then this could be one of the bargains of the summer. I think back to the Euros, not the one just gone, the one before that. He was amazing, and everyone, if Liverpool had bid then, they would have been quoted an astronomical fee for him. Obviously, he's had injuries. Everyone knows that. It's well documented. But, players have had injuries in the past. Look at Virgil van Dijk. He had that big ACL injury. Right. He's come back and he's as good, if not better. It just takes a bit of time. It takes a bit of confidence from the manager, and I think Liverpool will give him that, whereas Juventus didn't seem to want to play ball with him. But, there's now 6 attacking options once Chiesa signs, and there's a lot of games this season, so it's not like he's coming in to sit on the bench every week. He will have a big part to play. And for £10 million, if he could just come off the bench and score a couple of last-minute equalisers, winners, whatever, it back within weeks. So when you factor in the transfer fee, this is a brilliant business from Liverpool, I think, and very low risk. If it doesn't work out, say 4 years down the line, we look back and think, that one didn't work out, he was too injury-prone. You still just say, well, it was only 10 million, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it really is, like saying nothing in the current market. I mean, for yourself, because I was wondering on this, and I've seen a lot of reports, Chiesa by his nature, people say, well, he's probably a Salah cover, Salah rotational optional. The one position we don't have a real option is in backup is the right winger. Do you see it that way, or do you think, this guy's pedigree could see him push further?
I think I think Arne Slot doesn't see people as like a starter or a backup. I think he sees it all as like, let's alter it based on the opposition or the fitness levels or, whatever's happening. I don't think Chiesa is being signed to be a 6th choice forward. I think he's being signed to be one of the options that can compete to start. Like Salah last season missed 3 months of the season with injury. And Chiesa was there then. If Liverpool had a quality option on the right, who knows, those draws at the end of the season might have been wins. those losses might have been draws, and all of a sudden you're thinking 6-7 more points, Liverpool could be right in there with City. So it's them small margins, and Chiesa has been known to score big goals. I think he scored quite a lot of big goals for Juve over the years and Fiorentina back in the day, and Italy as well. He's a goal scorer. He can play across the front three. I think his best position is the right, but he can play down the middle. He can play off the left. I think he can also play in the number 10. So I just think it's a perfect signing. Next to no money. Brilliant business, as I've said.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be interesting. Hopefully we get the Axel lean at some point today as well, fingers crossed. And we're definitely not going to get the Axel lean from straight away, maybe not even till next year, it's suggested. Mamardashvili, so that's been confirmed. Liverpool announced that we've signed the goalkeeper from Valencia. However, it's not going to be, is your understanding till next year, probably at the earliest? And is that definite, or could we be waiting for that one?
Yeah, well, it could be waiting 2 or 3 years until he plays regularly for Liverpool, I think. He's still at Valencia this season. He'll join Liverpool this time next year, or June, whatever. And there's no guarantee that he'll stick around next summer, and if not, go out on loan. But someone pointed me to about 10 years ago with Chelsea, when they signed Courtois and loaned him out a couple of times.
Yeah,
and then basically came back one summer. Bajcetic was still brilliant, one of the best Premier League goalkeepers ever. But Mourinho, who was the manager at the time, basically said, it's now or never. I'm going to have to start Thibaut Courtois or he will leave. And who knows, 2 years down the line, that might be the case with Mamardashvili 2 or 3 years down the line. Because obviously, you look back at that decision, Courtois is now one of the best keepers in the world. So it's basically similar to that. Succession planning. Alisson is now, 32, 33? I'm not sure. He's not going to be around forever, although he is still the best keeper in the league, I would say.
Yeah.
He's not showing any signs of getting any worse. And obviously we know keepers can play into the late 30s, even 40s. So I don't think it's a sign that Alisson's going to decline anytime soon. But if he does, there's a player waiting in the wings who can be brilliant. And I can't lie, I've not watched too much of him, but I watched a few of their games at the Euros and I thought, wow, this keeper's amazing. I remember saying, I was in the pub watching one of their games. I remember saying to my mate, he'll get a move this summer. I didn't actually think it would be quite as high as Liverpool. I thought it might be like a mid-table club, like a West Ham sort of level. But good signing from Liverpool. And again, quite cheap, 29 million it is.
Yeah.
The view from inside the club is basically if they waited 12 months on this, he could be worth 50, 60. So, because his career's just been going up and up like that. So
yeah.
It might be one of them. He just never ends up playing for Liverpool. We don't know how long Alisson will stay around, but it could also be one. He could be the number one for 10 years, or he could come back in 2 years and Liverpool sell him for double what they've paid for him. So it's a bit of a weird one, but it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. The insurance is there, whatever happens. And I'm going to ask you this, Lewis, because it is rumour city at the moment, isn't it? With all positions. From what you're hearing, do you get the feeling there could still be late business aside from Chiesa for Liverpool?
Yeah, I think they're trying. And there could be, but I would say I highly doubt it, just based on the fact there's no time left.
Yeah.
I think they were exploring a few deals for certain players, but I don't think there's enough time to do any of them. By the time this podcast goes out, it'll be 36 hours or less of the window. So I can't see any more, but I wouldn't go on record and say 100% no.
Yeah, it might just be, can they do it? It's that opportunistic word, isn't it? That's the key one. That's
my diplomatic view anyway.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And Outgoings, we've got to talk about these because these have also exploded to life. Tyler Morton, I mean, this was building that it was going to be a perm, there's different options. Then earlier in the week, it seemed nailed on and it was going to be Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen, wasn't it? With a loan or a buy option or an obligation, however it was going to be. But now all the news seems to be that that's gone, that is off the table completely. Have the club given any more reason on like why that is the case or what's prompted that at all?
Well, all summer the club have wanted a sale for Tyler Morton, and they value him at about 20 million, based on the fact that he played well for Blackburn and then Hull in the Championship. And their method of valuing players is based on what other players of a similar age have gone for. So you look at Adam Morton, who's a midfielder who went to Palace for 20 million. So that's how they've reached a valuation. And I think it's fair. He's a great player with huge potential. So Leverkusen have come in, and Morton really wanted the move because he idolises Xabi Alonso. Like, he's a Liverpool fan. He joined Liverpool age 6 or 7, and I presume when he joined, the best player was Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
Or, Stevie G. But he loved Xabi Alonso. He loved the idea of working with him. And I think from his perspective, he would have said to Liverpool, and I'm fairly sure he has said this to Liverpool, send me out on loan, and if I play over half the games for Leverkusen, I could be worth more this time next. And it works well for all parties. But Liverpool do want a sale. They've been digging the heels in for that. And I think that all but rules out Leverkusen, because I don't know if they can afford him or whatever. I don't know what business they've done this summer. So there are still other clubs, but again, there's not much time left for any of these deals. It's not like you can just. It's not like on FIFA where you can just make a little bid and then within 10 seconds you've got the player signing. It takes some time, so let's see what happens on Morton. But if he does stick around, he is a handy little option because he's a good player. He can play in that deeper lying role. And if there's a few injuries, I wouldn't be surprised if he got some minutes. But that one is very uncertain where he goes now.
Yeah, I think some even took it as almost a death knell for the midfield hopes. People think, well, if Tyler Morton sticking around, is that the cover? Because like you said, it's just so late in the window. And then the other youngster that's probably drawing a lot of headlines this morning, Stefan Bajcetic, and even last night, wasn't it? Let's be honest, Lewis, because it was all set, or all the suggestions were season-long loan at Red Bull Salzburg, back with Pep Lijnders. That was natural. And then a Barcelona link exploded from nowhere last night from Fabrizio Romano and other people talking about it. Then even we had quotes from another dad talking about Barcelona, except it was Stefan Bajcetic's dad saying, yeah, a club of that level is where we should be. What is the latest with him? Because even talk that he could be on a plane. Do we know where Stefan Bajcetic is even right now?
Well, one of the aggregators tweeted a plane link yesterday of Kauser's plane from Turin to Liverpool, and apparently the same plane is going to Salzburg. According to these aggregators, I'm not sure whether that's Photoshop or what, but it does seem like he's heading to Salzburg now, and Barcelona did try to hijack it. I'm sure the player's head was turned by that, but I don't know how much he would play at Barcelona. Obviously, they're a very strange club in terms of the finances, to say the least. But I do think the Salzburg move made the most sense because hopefully, I mean, I don't know too much about who Salzburg have got in the midfield, but you'd imagine Bajcetic would play most weeks there. And I think that one makes sense because he needs. I personally thought he would have stuck around this summer, but obviously the coaching team have decided the best thing for him is to go and play 30, 40 games in a season rather than just play 10 minutes off the bench here and there. So that's probably fair enough. And that deal does make sense. Would expect that to go through now.
Yeah, and back with his old pal Bobby Clark, and 8 Champions League games for Salzburg as well, so he could get a shot at the top level at the same time this season. And I suppose there is still a few question marks around certain players. We know it's so late on time, but thinking of a few, Gomez, Kelleher, those been mentioned, maybe even Simicaz. Do you think that there is any chances along those players, or is it just so late in the window now?
Yeah, there's chances for Gomez, but I don't think that Liverpool would let him go without having a replacement lined up. And it's probably a bit boring, but the answer to all these questions is just no time. There's no time now. if there was another week, maybe the answer would be different. Kelleher is one that I'm surprised that he's still here, because I was very certain that he'd leave this summer, that just based on the fact he's publicly said he wants to be a number one. Liverpool have signed Alisson's replacement, so it's not even like he could go on loan for a year and then fight for number one. But he's still here. I presume that's just because there's no Premier League clubs that want to buy him or can afford to buy him. Liverpool wanted about 25-ish for him. And I think Wolves are just signing a goalkeeper, Sam Johnson.
Yeah.
I think Forest have signed the goalkeeper this summer. These are all the clubs that were keen on in January. So it looks like Kelleher will stay put. And then Tsimikas, I can't really see him leaving in the next few hours. I did, again, start of the window, I thought he might have moved on this summer, but he's actually looked quite good in pre-season. So I think Arne Slot likes him and has probably convinced him to stick around for a bit longer.
Yeah, he's an interesting. Even when you see Aaron Ramsdale go into Arsenal for 25 million, I'd rather have Kelleher. I think he's a better keeper, better with his feet. But yeah, such is the market. If there's no takers, we will have to see. And just to be clear to anyone listening, Lewis was quite unequivocal. There's nothing definite either way. It's just so late in the window. There's no promises either side. So we'll have to see. And 5 p.m. today, there is a Champions League draw, Lewis. Now, it's getting my head around this still, because I'm looking at 4 pots. We're not in the old groups of 4 as we used to be. 4 pots, 2 from each pot we could play as well. I mean, when you look at this and just the sheer volume of team, what's your thoughts when you first see those 4 pots, all the names? A fan of this new style or not at all?
I mean, well, for starters, for some stupid reason, I sat around and waited for the Carabao Cup draw last night. And that was half an hour of my life that I'll never get back, of them talking about Newcastle v Forest, which I didn't really care about. So I might just not even bother watching this one and just wait until we get it on a piece of paper who Liverpool are playing. So they're playing 8 different teams. Is that right?
Yeah.
I just can't get my head around it. But hopefully there'll be some nice little games in there. I think the one I'd want is Salzburg, just for the former Liverpool players, Pep Linders. That'll be a good one. Obviously I get lucky enough to go to the games for work, so Salzburg looks a beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for them, hoping for a big club, just, tick off a nice big ground for myself, maybe the Bernabeu. I've been to the Bernabeu when I was on holiday for a Spain game once, but it'd be good to go to a Madrid game there. And then, I'm not sure, just see. I think Liverpool have got a good chance in the Champions League. I'm not saying they'll win it, but maybe to go deep, maybe a quarter or a semi in them this season.
Yeah, and especially with the format, it's so important, which just sounds crazy. You get in the top 8, because anywhere in sort of 9 below, they go into that 2-legged playoff, so 8 games becomes 10, and the last thing Liverpool need is more games this season. And yeah, even like you say, looking here in that pot 2, even though Liverpool are in pot 1, there's still Atletico Madrid, Atalanta from last season as well. You think there's some you really wouldn't fancy. But Salzburg, Bernabeu, would you take that at the end of the day for the away days?
Well, I mean, I like the interesting ones. I think Liverpool, it'd be good to see them tested against one of the very best teams, just to see how far this team is coming, like a Bayern or a Real or one of the like PSG or someone like that.
Yeah.
And then just some nice little romantic sort of ties, some nice little trips for me. There's so many teams I forgot who half of them are, but maybe like a Bologna or somewhere looks a nice place. I'm mainly thinking what would be nice for a nice little few pints and a nice meal the night before.
Yeah, see some good video diaries in there, wouldn't there? Yeah, to be honest, if anyone is listening and it comes out before then, be careful whether you want to watch it, because you've got to see 32 teams draw and just think how long that's going to take in total. It might be well worth waiting until it's all on paper, as Lewis says. And on paper, Sunday, 4 o'clock, Lewis, we go down the East Lancs Road, don't we? This is there's so many subplots for this one, naturally, that the Dutch managers, Arne Slot's first experience against a big team, as it were. I know he's only played 2 so far. And just Do we know if Chiesa is signed today, can he be in the squad? Is there a sort of cut-off, do we know normally, or roughly when it has to be done by?
Well, just thinking last week, City signed Gundogan on Friday and he played on Saturday. So that's,
True.
or, maybe it was Thursday and he played on Saturday. So that was 48 hours. I think that, I don't see why not. He's not going to start, obviously, but just have him on the bench, say it's 1-1 with 10 minutes to go, or, say they're drawing or losing with 10 minutes to go. Why not throw him on and see what he's about? Make a couple of headlines for himself. I think he'd be able to be in the squad, definitely. I don't see why not, unless he's carrying an injury. I know he's been frozen out of Juventus' squad, hasn't he? So I don't know if he's not in terms of injuries, but just in terms of match fitness, whether he might need a, behind closed doors friendly, or can he play for the 21s or something? But I think, as far as I'm aware, he'd be eligible to be selected on Sunday. And that's obviously the first big test of the slot era. So, United, for some reason, I've watched both of their games this season. They've looked awful in both of them, even though they won that first one. So I'd expect Liverpool to go there, play with a bit of swagger and try and win.
You're thinking, and I suppose because, listen, we can't complain about any start to the season where we win both games 2-0. We've got the best XG, the least conceded against XG as well, 2 clean sheets. So it's all positive at the moment. Would you expect against United, even Old Trafford, same lineup that pretty much lined up against Brentford?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think that lineup played quite well. Obviously, the one change between the 2 first games was Konate came in. I thought he played excellent. The front 3 all contributed. Maybe no, I don't think so. I don't think there'll be any changes. Maybe he might throw in a bit of Nunes just to shake up there, because Lissandro Martinez against Nunes would be a really good battle to watch. But I think Jota's played very well in the game, so I can't see anyone being dropped, really. Gravenberch played well, Szoboszlai. So I think he'd keep the same 11. Obviously, Liverpool have won both games, but you do have to say it is against 2 teams that will finish, near the bottom of the table this season. But if they beat United, then we can start talking properly like this is a really good start. Then on the other hand, if they lose to United, people will say, well, everyone will be rabbiting on about, maybe Slot's football can't work. But, let's see what happens. I do think Liverpool are by far the better team. It's just the Old Trafford factor that's going to swing it a little bit.
Yeah, the record is not great there in recent times, but yeah, fingers crossed. And it's a massive test. It's the first huge one, as you say, of the slot era. It sounds like it's an early start for you tomorrow as well, because the slot press conference seems to like the 9 a.m.s for some reason.
Traffic's awful at that time.
It's strange. It does seem to like them early, whereas Jurgen used to have them all different times. But hey-ho, it's all different styles. Just to reiterate as well, because I know people are going to focus on this, it is important to say, transfer window, we're not ruling anything out. There could still be a yellow tie style move from Liverpool, Videocon, or whoever doing the bits, but it's just difficult to see it, isn't it, in the time slot left?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule anything out, but you just think how quickly the Chiesa thing accelerated. Something could happen like that. I think they have explored a few options this week or last week, but it's just the clock is ticking, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. There really isn't much time left at all. But all it really leaves me to say is, Lewis, for the time, the insight, I know we got you for a while, but you are a ridiculously busy man. So thank you very much for the time. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much for having me on. Enjoyed it.
And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters by Anfield Index.